Good afternoon. My name is Robert Davis. I'm the Chief Operating Officer here at Keyrenter, Tulsa. Today, I'm creating this video to show you the basic parts of an owner statement. So let's just dive on in. For owners with multiple properties, you're going to see this consolidated summary as your first page. Keyrenter info is up here in the top left corner. Any owner info is here. I've blacked out for safety issues for this particular owner. And then over here on the right is going to be the statement dates. Now at Keyrenter, we paid in this particular period from October 11th and paid out on November 10th. So that's just kind of why I've chosen these dates. And then here, this is a consolidated group of 12 properties for this particular owner. If you're an owner with only one property, you'll just see this one page, and that's all you'll have. All right, so let's talk a little bit about different things that you'll see. Up in the top, you will always see the property address for the specific property. Again, I've blocked it out for the safety of this property. The statement is broken into two categories. You have a property cash summary, and then you have a transaction summary. Now, I've chosen a couple basic examples just to identify some questions a lot of owners have. This beginning balance here is the beginning cash balance at the time of the statement, and it was $300. For this particular property, there was no cash in or no cash out, so the ending cash balance is still $300. So that's why they're the same color there. The property reserve for this property is $300. Each month, you will see a negative number here for your specific property's reserve. That does not mean we're taking out the same $300 each month. It's just used as a metric to decide how much money is either due to the owner or how much money is due to the property manager. In this case, we're holding $300 in the bank. The reserve is $300. So the net is zero. So at this point, nobody owes anybody any money. Let's look at a couple examples. Here, the beginning balance is zero. And what this is saying is that the owner never funded the reserve. And because of that, we have $0 in the bank. Now, the property reserve is set at $300. And so this means that the owner owes the property management company $300 to cover that reserve. So again, nothing in the bank. Owner owes $300 because it's negative. Here's a little slightly more complicated example. This starting balance was $38.50, which matches here. The cash out was $73.72, which was an electric bill paid on behalf of the owner. So that left a cash balance of negative $34.82. So there's negative $34 in the bank. When you subtract also the reserve, that leaves a $334 balance and some change due to the management company from the owner. So again, this orange number, this is a running cash balance here on the right side, and that's negative 34 plus the reserve. Here's an example of amount due to the owner. So the starting balance was negative $70. Some rent came in. The management fee was taken out of that rent, as can see directly here. Rent came in again for November, and then cash went back out for the management fee. At this point, the starting balance again matches at the beginning here. In orange, you see the ending balance, $11.90. And then you also see the cash out balance of $140, which is in blue. This is the first time we've seen a cash in balance, green here, that matches here. So again, this yellow, green, blue, and orange is all going to match from your transaction section. Now, this is a running balance here. So this says that there's $1,190 in the bank. We want to keep $300 in reserve for this owner. And so we owe the owner $890. So whenever an owner payment would be made, it would be made in the amount of $890. All right. So now that we've talked about the reserve, let's talk a little bit about how fees will actually show up on the transaction summary. So rent came in for $720, and it shows in the description which month that was for, what kind of receipt, on what date, and over here we've blocked out the tenant's name, but this would be the tenant information. Immediately after, you can see that we paid our management fee directly corresponding to this rent amount. This left $14,1821 in the bank. So then a payment was created for $11,1821 to bring down the property reserve, and this is what we paid the owner. And it left an ending cash balance of $300, which equals the reserve. And so there's a net of 0 here, showing that the owner was paid out and nothing is due to the management company. Now, also just kind of keep in mind, again, this net owner funds does not mean that there's $0 in the bank or that your reserve is gone. It just merely is a mathematical equation to allow us to true up a property's account. Now, on the next page, this is slightly a little bit more complicated, but I wanted to show for a reason. Again, you've got your running balance here, but notice there's multiple rent and late fee incomes coming in, and then multiple cash out transactions. And the way our system is set up, it allows us to track line items so the owner can see more of granularity as to what was paid out. So for instance, $200 came in rent for October, so the management fee of $20 was taken out. And then the tenant made one payment here. You can see the same reference number. So the tenant made one payment, but it came in 3 different general ledger items. So $358.50 came in with rent, and you can see that management fee directly tied here, $35.85. The late fee, $25.107. We took out the management portion of that late fee right here. So again, the blue corresponds to the blue late fee, and then the description matches the late fee. Here in light blue, the $113 late fee was paid out here on 11/8 for $84.75. And so these first 2 late fees were paid on 10/25, while this third was paid on 11/5. And that's why these 2 were combined in one. And then this last one was combined here for this one payment. And then again in pink here, you've got the management fee for this $358.50. And then this management fee, $10.40, is from the $104 payment here. So sometimes when tenants pay in multiple payments, you might see multiple line items and multiple payments. That's because we take a fee if and only the tenant pays their rent. We're not going to take a fee if the tenant didn't pay anything. Here on the last page is just more of a little few exceptions that you might see. The starting balance was $520.58, and the ending balance was $300.17. So here, the ending balance is $317. However, this property has an unpaid bill that is reflected down here in this bills due section. Very often you will not see this, but in case you do, this just means that there's $300.17 in the bank, but we still owe $75 in this case for a HVAC work order. When you subtract out the property, it says that the owners owe $74.83. So even though the bank's in a positive state, because of the unpaid bill, there is going to be a remit balance due notice to the owner. Again, we try to minimize these and pay out all bills before owner payments are made, but sometimes things pop in at the last minute. This was just a brief overview of some of the owner statements. You should be able to see this document and go through it at your own pace. If you have any questions, please feel free to email Matt or myself, and we'd gladly help you with any questions